As time passes and we near our next graduation, we all have questions for our future. Majority of them have to do with where we'll all be, so it's not useless to start thinking about it and what is the best city to go to. I think it's Halifax, Nova Scotia. To prove my reasoning, I'll bring up the qualifications of culture, physical geography, climate, economy, demographics, and so forth. Things that attracts possible citizens is their tourism and what you can do there. Now in Halifax, there's a multitude of things to do year-round and many places that you can visit. Popular attractions include the Neptune Theatre, which puts on wonderful plays. They're Broadway material and is a great place for artists. There is also the Symphony of Nova Scotia, which is housed in Halifax, along with the Art Gallery of Nova Scotia. At the Art Gallery, there are exhibits of collections and hosts a grand variety of programs and exhibitions. The arts are a very big part of Halifax, with 2.1% of the population working in the arts and recreation. Talking about recreation, it would be silly not to mention it. Since Halifax is right at the ocean, there's options for yachting, canoeing, rowing, swimming, and more. Halifax has also hosted international canoeing championships that are run by Lake Bannock and Dartmouth and Bannock Canoe Club. Now, Halifax is not limited to water sports. There have been basketball and volleyball national university championships at the downtown Metro Center. Halifax obviously treasures its athletic and artistic attributes, which brings interest to anyone thinking about coming to Canada or just, visiting. Now, if you are interested to even coming to Halifax from that, I'm sure you'll be swayed by the plenty of festivals in Halifax. A few examples are The Color Purple, which is a musical that is held at the Neptune Theatre, the Scotiabank Blue Nose Marathon, Royal Nova Scotia International Tattoo, Halifax Jazz Festival, Halifax Busker Festival, the Atlantic International Film Festival, Nocturne Art at Night, and HalCon. Doesn't that sound like a fun place to visit? Maybe even to stay? Well, if you're interested to live in Halifax, well, keep on watching. Or if you have to, just keep on watching. Anyway, physical geography and climate are very important factors when deciding on a place to live, well, because everyone has their personal preference. For example, one of the reasons I chose Halifax was because it was in the maritime climate zone. Halifax is in the Atlantic Maritime Ecozone, along with having a maritime climate, which results in it having mild fall winters and moderately warm summers. There is also a growing season of 180 to 210 days. And for Halifax, there is a total precipitation of 1,388 millimeters. In Halifax, there is an average annual temperature of 7.75 degrees Celsius and a temperature range of 23 degrees Celsius, along with 4 months of snow. Since I like the climate, I continue to research the physical geography of Halifax. As I stated, Halifax is in the Atlantic Maritime Ecozone. There are coniferous mixed with deciduous vegetation. Examples of coniferous are white pine, red spruce, and red pine. Examples of deciduous are sugar maple, red oak, and yellow birch. The soil in that region are leached and are Proterozoic soil. Proterozoic soil is found in coniferous forests, and leaching occurs in wet climates with water moving downwards in the soil. That leaching causes the soil to be lacking in minerals. Henceforth, Halifax is in the Appalachian region that has rolling mountains, hills, wide glacial valleys, and long bays. The long bays have become settings for major cities and provide deep harbors which are used by ocean freighters. Populations also have layers of sedimentary rock that have non-metallic materials, for example coal. Plus there is volcanic activity and faulting that created small pockets of metamorphic and igneous rock. Now, once you look at the big picture that is Halifax's natural beauty, you can really start to understand why Halifax was chosen for settlement. Originally in the area that Halifax was in, it was resided by the Mi'kmaq people during the summers to hunt and fish. Now hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Halifax was known as Jiptug, which I'm also hoping I am pronouncing correctly, but it was Anglicized to Chebucto. Chebucto was settled by English settlers in 1749 because of its ice-free and prosperous harbor. Also to counter the French military and the Acadian Catholic presence. Soon after settling, Chebucto was renamed to Halifax after the Earl Grey of Halifax and the Chief Lord of Trade and Plantations, George Dunk. Over the course of history, the city was eventually established in 1841 and became the city that it is now. Also, if you want to learn more about Halifax's history, well, you should stop by at the Nova Scotia Museum of Natural History and the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, also the Public Archives of Nova Scotia, which are in Halifax, which gives you one more reason to come to Halifax. The population is estimated to be 410,816. In 2016, the population was 403,131, and in 2011, it was 386 people. There was a 3.3% population change from 2011's population in 2016. Ethnicities of that population are that 38.4% stated Canadian origins, 30.6% are English, 28.5% are Scottish, and visible minorities are 11.4% of the population. That 11.4% are made up of a majority of Black, Arab, Chinese, and South Asian communities. 4% of visible minorities are Indigenous people. Furthermore, Halifax population resides on 5,490.35 km square size land that has a population density of 73.4 people per kilometer squared. The city is one of the major urban areas of the Atlantic Maritime Ecozone region and plans to keep on growing. One way the city is growing is by encouraging immigrants to move to Halifax. They do this by providing information easily about healthcare, how and where to find a job, and they have programs to help immigrants like the Halifax Local Immigration Partnership, HLIP for short. Also, even though French and English are the most common languages, they aren't the only ones being spoken. Plus, it is encouraged to celebrate one's own culture. There is even a Canadian Museum of Immigration at Pier 21 in Halifax where over 1 million immigrants entered Canada. As you can see, Halifax is very welcoming and diverse. Of course, housing is important because you gotta live somewhere. Now, according to the 2016 census, there are a total of 187,338 total private dwellings. Out of that total, 173,324 are occupied by usual residents. According to the Money Sense magazine, the average value of prime real estate is $349,120, and the average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment is $1,109. The property rate of an average income which, by the way, the average income is $87,877, is 2%. If you compare the average income to all those values, you are able to see how it is affordable to live in Halifax. If you want to be able to afford to live in Halifax, you gotta have a job. So you must be aware of the several industries in Halifax. In the Atlantic Maritime region, the GDP is $39.9 billion. The unemployment rate for last month was 2.50%. The long-term average is 5.92%, and the value from 1 year ago was 3.10%. In Halifax, tourism, finance, construction, fishery, healthcare and social assistance, education, trade, and public administration are important industries. Some major employers are the Dalhousie University, the Canadian Force Base of Halifax, the Capital District Health Authority, Nova Scotia Power Incorporated, and there are also projects that are being developed on, plus the jobs in tourism and recreation. Additionally, there are many universities and colleges that bring in many students to Halifax. As you can see, Halifax has a prosperous economy, a wide range of work fields, and opportunity. Next, I will be telling you about some other factors that just sweeten the deal with living in Halifax. For one, the transportation is ranked number 1 out of the entire Atlantic region. 5% of the population walks to work, and 7.06% of the population take the transit to work. There is easy to access information on the Halifax website on bus routes and the ferry schedule. Either way, Halifax has a very lovely transportation system. One more factor that should be on your mind is safety of the city and the crime rate. Halifax has a crime rate of 5,105 per 1,000 of a population. It is still ranked 121st most dangerous city in Canada, but the police have set up this crime map which basically shows you how many crimes there were yesterday, where they were, and what kinds of crimes they were. So it isn't too bad, but all you have to do is make sure you take certain precautions and make sure you don't leave everything unlocked. So anyway, let's move on to healthcare. Now, as you guys probably know, Canada has free healthcare. However, we should delve into the more specifics of the Nova Scotia province. It has a medical insurance that pays for medically required doctor services, some dental and optometric services, doctor referred specialist visits, and certain hospital services. Additionally, prescription medications are covered. Anyway, there are 453 doctor offices in Halifax. You can call 811 for non-emergency health information. You can also text this number if you please. To wrap up this video/presentation, I thought it would be nice to bring up a couple little facts. Like there's a beaver tail stand there. My main reason to going because beaver tails are awesome. Anyway, if you are interested in visiting any parks, I would suggest visiting the Halifax Citadel Park, the Long Lake Provincial Park, and the Halifax Public Gardens out of the wide variety of parks they have at Halifax. Anyway, Halifax, Nova Scotia is a beautiful city that has a jaw-dropping physical landscape, lovely weather, a booming economy, has a welcoming and multicultural population, while being an amazing place to live. For those reasons, Halifax is the best city to live in Canada.